Well, good evening, everybody, or check that, should I say good afternoon, everybody. Of course, we are live. The Jimmy Palumbo Show, show number 177. Well, good evening, everybody. It's a perfect day here. The barometer is steady. We're going to get this one in. The Jimmy Palumbo Show here, one of the smoothest openings of any show you'll ever see. Jimmy Palumbo has no idea what he's doing here at Shea, but I'll go 5 1/3 and rest the bullpen. This is show number 177, one Clint Frazier. And Tyson Hogan, if you don't think I wrote that down before my notes, you are sadly mistaken. Also, one Troy Archer. Or one, let me see if Dave knows this one. He should. One Matt Blake.
Matt Blake. Is that recent?
Yeah, you should know it. You should know it. One Matt Blake, which would be, I wouldn't have known it either. He is the pitching coach of the New York Yankees. Also, Eric Dorsey. And of course, the biggest thing, really, 1977. This is show number 177. Reggie Jackson. Hit 3 bombs against the Dodgers. I was 12, and that is when I became a huge Reggie fan. Still wear his number to this day in softball. And so that's it. Of course, behind the glass, your friend and mine, wrestling's most famous person in the world, in Dunellen, anyway.
That might not even be true either. Honestly, I got somebody in the Olympics right now. To be honest with you, from there's posters everywhere. I'm like, well, I guess I'm not the most popular person from Dunellen.
Listen, I've been in like 6th place many times. Behind the glass, of course, Dave Sturcho. How we doing today?
Good, man. Coming off a really, really awesome weekend. I was at the Dog Pound all weekend in Cleveland, Ohio. That was fun. But
what were you doing
once
in
you
Cleveland?
get back to reality, it's like, now it's back to the grind.
What were you doing in Cleveland?
We at My Fandom had press media credentials to cover SummerSlam. That was at Cleveland Browns Stadium. So I was able to go there on Thursday. The story, man, if you got time, like I'll tell it later if we have time, but getting there was a little bit of a bitch. But once we did, it was smooth sailing and it was a lot of fun. Met a lot of cool WWE superstars and stuff. So I got to interview them. So it was very cool.
I've never been to Cleveland, but everybody says it's a great time. So I'm looking forward to that's one of my bucket list things.
It's okay. When we were driving downtown Cleveland, I was like, I kind of miss Philly. Right?
No, listen, first of all,
there's an area like that.
All right, but hang on a second. Like, no big city is leading their division right now. Okay, like, everybody's like 4.5 back. Okay, yeah. That includes L.A., New York, Cleveland. I mean, right now the suburbs way out. If you're 2 hours from a city, you got a nice lead. But don't ever count out the big cities, because next thing you know, you got to play New York, a 4-game series at the end of the season, clinging to a 2-game lead. But friends of mine had some good time. Stand up as well. There's some good clubs out there. All right, so you're out there in Cleveland. That's good. Well, as most of you well know, I do the baseball card thing, and this one might be one of the reasons why I do this, because there's not much to say on this guy. There's no way you know him. It's a 1988 card. By the way, it is like a vintage card. It's like perfectly, this would sell. This was a Mickey Mantle. I'd get, $4 million. This guy's name is Rob Murphy here at Shea. Now, I learned a lesson. Well, I shouldn't say I learned. I've been learning lessons. When you get a guy's name, like I wish every card I chose had like a crazy name like Andahar Fatare Mandare, because then when you Google him, everything's about him. But when you Google a guy named Rob Murphy, you know how many Rob Murphys are in, number one,
Rob Murphy sports? Real estate, Rob Murphy hockey player,
Rob Murphy's pub in San Jose, California, and you try to find something out. Then meanwhile, also Rob Murphy. He got some guy named Rob Murphy got fired as a long-term high school coach somewhere. And I'm thinking, oh shit, the guy finds it. That's not him. Doesn't look anything like him. So I'm like, where is Rob? I couldn't find anything on him. Other than his stats, he's a lefty. Now, this guy, what I love about him, it kind of reminds me of my softball career. 11 years he played, 85 to 95. He was 32 and 38 with a 3.64 ERA. So he'd be making around $8 million a year today. He had 30 total saves, which is not a lot, but he was like your reliever guy, innings guy, came in the 6th, 7th, and 8th guy. He played on, which I love this, Reds, Boston, Seattle, Houston, St. Louis, New York Yankees, LA, and Florida. 8 teams, 11 years. That's a journeyman. That's a guy.
He didn't buy any real estate.
That's a guy with, what I love about guys like this is when you're down like 7-2 in the 6th inning, Rob Murphy go out there and give you some innings. He is not.
It's like a young Jeff Nelson.
Yeah, he just comes in and tosses you around a little bit. With the 94 Yanks, he was awesome. He had a 16.2 ERA. He pitched 1.2 innings, gave up 3 hits, 3 runs, and 2 home runs.
Is 94 the year that they would have probably won the World Series had it not been the strikers at 93?
It was the strike year. And then 95, they lost to
So he came in for one appearance,
got
lit up.
He got lit up.
The ERA went up, and then the season's over.
That's it. And he didn't play it. He played a half a year after that. But the funniest thing is, in 1990 on the Red Sox in the playoffs, I don't remember the Red Sox making a playoff. He pitched 0.2 innings, gave up 2 hits and a walk, so he shit the bed there. He was a Florida Gator. But his stats weren't all that bad. He was actually a pretty decent player. If you look in those, you need those middle reliever guys. You need someone to pitch the 5th, 6th, 7th. He wasn't all that bad. Because when you get traded a lot, it also means someone else wants you a lot. So you need a guy to fill it. You need a guy.
Debatable. It's almost as if like player A and player B, and they're like, and we'll spice up the pot and we'll give you Murphy.
Okay. Well, listen, it would be like, what it would be like if there was like a podcast league and you needed like, I would be like the Jimmy Blunt will come in the 6th and, Joe Rogan 5 2/3 shutout baseball. But due to the pitch count, but here's what I love. Everybody talks about when their family can come see a game, your first major league. Like if your son ends up playing a major league, you would fly, get there, whatever you got to do, right? He's in the game, you'd be crying, hugging, cheering, right? You'd probably be cursing out fans to the left and right, saying that your kid sucks. But his first batter, he gave up a home run to Mike Marshall. That's got to be brutal, man. I was like, here's about Rob Murphy coming in here. His first major league and first pitch, he got hit with 425 feet.
Throwing Rob Murphy going out there throwing gas, and he lofts off an 89-mile-per-hour fastball.
Brutal. But he did have a record in 1986 up to that point. As a reliever, he had his ERA that year was 0.72, and that's on 50 innings pitched, which was a National League record at the time. And I still think it's like 5th or 6th. I think Mariano, one of those guys, came later on. But listen, you pitch a whole year and you 50 innings, which is a decent amount for a reliever. And
now that we spent the first 8 minutes on Rob Murphy.
I know we're going too long on Rob Murphy. I love, what? Let me tell you something what's great about Dave. Okay, by the way, Rob Murphy's in horse racing now. That's all I found out. What's great about Dave is when he decides to be a producer, it just comes out. It's almost like you know what it is? I'm used to Dave's pitch away, and all of a sudden he just throws a little chin music, a little high. I got to step out of the box.
I got to brush you off a little bit.
Looking at the time, well, we did start to talk a little bit about Cleveland, and I by the way, if anybody out there can find out if Clint Frazier is still playing baseball. Last I checked, I looked online. He was in the Atlantic League playing for the Dirty Birds of Charleston. And now all of a sudden he's not on the roster. So I don't know what the hell's going on. Anyway, so Patreon, of course, due to the name of the show is now Tyson Hogan. The Tyson Hogan's son. You got any other kids in your family or any mother and father? I mean, you can throw a few.
You're such a hustler, bro. You're such a hustler.
I'm going to come over for dinner one night and say, hey, which one of you kids is on my Patreon?
What do we have for dessert? Your credit card information, actually.
We now have 43, so we need a Reggie, and it's show number 177. We do need a 44. I got to give a shout out to my fellow Patreon members, 3 guys. I'll call them my Colonia High School boys, Dave Ben, Brian Shevlin, and Louis Vicciadomini, class of 1983, getting involved. And also 3 players on Corona Construction softball team number 3. My dad had number 1. My brother was number 2, and I had the third team. We were like the Mets in '62, a hodgepodge of youngsters. Eventually, we merged into one team, and I took over as GM and manager. I was a combination of Joe. I was a combination of Joe Torre, Jeter, and Brian Cashman for 35 years.
And a matter of fact, there's a fun fact about that third team. Rob Murphy also played on that.
Rob Murphy went 5 2/3. Rob. I wonder if anybody out there knows who Rob Murphy is. Just tell them that Jimmy Palumbo talked about you for 8 minutes. That's longer than 90% of his appearances. So that's that. All right, we need some more Patreons to keep this show going. I gotta pay Dave every week, so I'm running out of time. Which brings us.
In case anybody gives a shit, I had a card too. It was
I forgot. I didn't want you to go.
Doc Rivers.
Doc Rivers. Loved him.
And a big thing about Doc Rivers, because the Knicks are in the news today as they named Jalen Brunson the newest captain of the New York Knicks. So
El Capitan. All right.
Yeah, so
Brunson. So it's Reed and you know what? I should know all the captains I know. It was Reed.
I'm assuming Ewing. Was Houston ever won? I don't know.
You know, that's terrible. You know what? His captains in basketball is not the same as it is baseball.
No, it's not. Not at all.
But I know probably, I don't know. One of those guys in the 50s, one of those little short white guys was captain too that we don't know about. That's my brother's going to know all this. I will ask my brother after the show. Come back. Allen Houston might have been captain.
They haven't had a captain since 2018. So, and that was
who would have been the captain.
Are you ready for the
Johnny
Newman of the 2018 season? Mr. Lance Thomas was the captain of the New York Knicks.
Are you kidding me? Oh, that's
awful. I swear to God. That's how bad we were.
I wish Jalen Brunson at the press conference to announce this would say, like, I shouldn't be here because they've had bad captains. That's awful. Lance Thomas. Oh, my God. Tyson Hogan checking in here. Clint Frazier is no longer out of baseball. He retired July 3rd. He hasn't gotten a hit really in like 4 years. So anyway, all right. So, what the hell? Doc Rivers, love Doc Rivers. He was a tough player.
They've had 36 captains. I'm looking at.
Oh, see, I apologize. You know what it is? First of all, the Knicks have been underground. They should be called the New York Cicadas because, I mean, they just
only pop up every so often.
They stink.
Oh, here we go. I got the whole list.
All right. Here
we go. Real quick, because this is really funny, just because we'll see if anybody
okay, go backwards, All right.
Wait, so like starting with Jalen Brunson?
Yeah.
Okay, Jalen Brunson, Lance Thomas.
Stunk.
Courtney Lee.
Stunk.
Carmelo Anthony.
Personally, I couldn't stand him.
I couldn't either. Amari Stoudemire.
I didn't mind him.
Raymond Felton.
Oh, my God.
Ready? But here's the next one. The next one, I had his jersey, and that was a mistake by all stretches. David Lee, the only white guy on the team at the time.
Oh, my God.
He was the captain.
This is so bad.
I'm not going through 36, but I'll give you a couple.
Just keep on going backwards, though. Keep on going back from
Thomas.
Kurt
Stephon
Thomas
Marbury.
Oh, awful.
I was right on Allen Houston. He was a captain. Grandmama. Larry Johnson was a captain. Derek Harper, also somebody that we're going to mention later on. Charles Oakley was a captain.
Okay, Charles Oakley.
Ewing. Bill Cartwright.
Okay.
Obviously, Bernard King, Earl Monroe, Walt Frazier, Willis Reed, like all these guys. The first captain ever was your friend and mine, Ozzie Sketchman.
Ozzie Sketchman for a quick 3 here at the timeout. We'll be right back. Wow. I can't. You know what? My brother.
There's 36 of them. Go Google it.
Okay. If Steve Vendini and my brother listen to this show, they are driving off the road. Bad captain. I don't think I realized. I never even heard of it.
Lee. Like, holy shit.
Awful. Oh, my God. Who's the guy? Feldman? Who is it?
Felton. I remember Felton used to hit clutch threes every now and again. And I'm like, this is the future of this team. I can't wait. Like, I'm so pumped. And it's just never panned out.
It's just awful. That's why when you watch the NBA draft, there's the top 4 players and everybody else is working for Chop Sports now.
Speaking of working for Chop Sports, I do want to give a very special shout out to Madison Palumbo.
Yes.
Because this
She's
girl
getting involved.
is on fire right now. She is down there in Carolina covering the Panthers. It's the coolest thing to see because, like, again, she interned for us. She was a great help for us. She was our first chop athlete.
Wait a minute. Liaison, Jimmy Palumbo bringing you mess
by blood. I mean, that's just...
blood. I don't get credit for that. I'm like a young Branch Rickey.
You do.
Venditti just drove up the road. But I was the intern master for a while there.
Madison is rocking it right now. So congratulations.
Her dad was just down there over the weekend. They were meeting players.
It's so cool, man. The access she has right now. I remember doing an internship with the Giants in 2007, and it's just like the access that you get, even as an intern, is like pretty surreal shit. Like, yeah, did I hate the team that I was covering and doing that? Yeah, I did. But like, and they knew
you weren't at the time. You weren't on
Venditti of all people knew I hated the team itself. And I remember getting yelled at when there was a pick. Favre threw a pick six when he was playing for the Packers. He threw a pick six to like R.W. McQuarters or some shit, and he takes it to the house. The whole place is shaking. I'm standing there like just my boss is just like, smile, Zamboni, fucking smile. And I was like, oh God. This is terrible.
Well, well, first of all, you weren't on air personality back then, though, right?
No, I was a broadcast intern.
In front of the camera. Because let me tell you something. Listen, let me tell you something about your fat ass. If you were working for the Giants and you were doing any kind of on-air talent, you would have been, good evening, everybody. The Giants are here from downtown East Rutherford. I gotta love Phil Simms.
That's what happened. Do you know John Schmelk?
No.
Schmelk is on the Fan. He covers the Giants. Huge Knicks fan. I roomed with him that year in 2007. And he told me he's a diehard Cowboys fan. He told me that. Those were his words. And that was 2007. But 17 years later, there's not a peep about the Cowboys. He is all blue Giants. And I was like, dude, you let me down so much.
No, because you know what? Someone's got to eat, brother. Papa's got to eat. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Let me tell you something. If you got a job covering the New York Giants with Chop Sports right now, you would be decked out in Phil Simms shit, Lawrence Taylor. You're
ready for this?
Your background would be blue.
It's so funny you say that because I'm trying to think. There was a picture that surfaced not too long ago, but I literally did it in black and white so nobody can see me rocking the Giants blue and red.
That's so
because I was on the field. That was a Cowboy game. I was in my glory. I was like, this is great. Cowboys kicking their ass.
Pathetic Cowboys fan. You'd still be working for the NFL. I don't care what anybody says. They got rid of you there because you're a fucking Cowboy fan. I would have. Someone went up to Wellington or John or whoever was the owner then. Hey,
they all knew, man. They all knew.
We got like this great guy. He's a really good
interview with a Cowboy sticker on my car.
At least you're not.
They still hired me. So
your Cowboy hat today is acceptable, barely, but it's acceptable because you know why? It says Cowboys, which brings me to something with the fucking Olympics. Okay, new rule. Number one, beach volleyball should be 24/7 and have their own network. That
only women's.
Okay, only women. No, we don't need to see the men. Number two is the new rule for when I'm in charge of the Olympics, and remember we did this a couple of years ago, get rid of all the Olympics. Yeah. Okay, well, we're still going to get rid of. I should have did that again. We're going to get rid of. Maybe I'll do it next week. We're going to get rid of a ton of different sports, but also here's the new rule: when the camera cuts to you, we should be able to determine what your country is within 0.008 seconds. I don't want to. Was that Serbia? Like during the track yesterday, at least the girls, USA, France, Great Britain. You know, who won? The hot blonde from Great Britain. All of a sudden, I feel like I know what I'm doing. But at the beginning of the Olympics, they're wearing these different outfits. You don't even know what country is that from?
And sometimes the initials that they have.
Yeah, makes no sense. It's like
shit. I'm like, I don't know. I think the U.S. men's basketball team was up by 20. I was getting my hair cut and I was watching the game. And I was like, oh, we're spanking Sudan.
Yeah, like, what is that? It should say Sudan. Like, see this right now? You look at your hat. What fan of Davis? Right, Cowboys. You look at my shirt, Rutgers. You know what I mean, 706 is a little bit like the Olympics. Nobody knows what that is except for our fine beer league fans. Anyway, that annoys the shit out of me. Which brings us to Chasing Miracles. This show is going to go off the rails because we don't know what we're talking about. Chasing Miracles. You know, it's a midsummer. It's hot. What a shitty day here, Jake. ChasingMiracles.com. Get the patches. Shit your body needs. They're miracle stem cell patches, not stem cell, stem cell patches, excuse me. Immediate effect on your body. Dave's wearing them. I'm wearing them right now. I got them. You put them right below your belly button. If I wasn't so fat, I would show you where they are.
Jimmy can't really seem to locate his anymore.
I can't locate his. It gets tucked underneath there. I find them in the toilet bowl. No, no, I got one on the back of my. I can maybe show. It's on the back of my neck. It's on now. No needles, non-invasive. Go to chasingmiracles.com. You got to talk to Tommy and Donna. They got all kinds of shit in this environment. It's really cool stuff. My mother definitely wears them. She had them on yesterday. I was with her. We're going to talk about that in a second. And so go to chasingmiracles.com. Now, in bigger news, ESPN reported it all week. CNN this morning, CNN came out with it. So I have to mention.
So then I got to check Fox to make sure it's accurate.
Well, Fox covered it too, big time. The big news was that we won the championship last week, Tuesday, in the Mahwah Softball League. It was equally covered by CNN.
You did send me a picture of your championship cup.
Yeah, I should. Oh, it's sitting over there. By the time I get it, it'll be an hour. Now, let me tell you something. I was as a veteran, clubhouse guy, I can't tell you how involved I was with this final game. Okay. I was 0 for 2. Okay. I played third base for 3 innings and didn't touch a ball, didn't get near a ball. Now, here's the worst part of me playing third, because initially you may say, 59-year-old veteran playing the hot corner. Do you know why I played third? He put me up on the list. I said, hey, did you make a mistake? I usually play second. He looks me dead in the eye. Dead in the eye. It says, nah, Jimmy, they got 5 lefties. I need some better people.
I was just going to say that.
I looked at him. I was like, I walked away like, all right. Like, what, I was like, and then I was like,
man.
So right away, I started in with the older guys. Like, clubhouse guy can go the other way on it. I go, and they also put another kid in the lineup who hadn't played 1 game all year, and he was batting him ahead of me, even though he was 20 years old. He didn't do shit either. But we had a great season. We won it. Now, the game itself, 6-0, a shutout in softball. Our boy, Paul, pitching, Paulie, gave up like 4 hits. The other team just shit the bed. I think if we played him 10 times, we'd split. But I got to give a shout out to a major, maybe that's why I'm wearing the hat today, James Saldo, right center fielder. Guess what he batted this year in softball, Dave? Easy question.
706.
There you go. However, wow. Michael Baltimore with a cheap base hit, bat 708. You imagine batting 706 and not winning the batting title on your team, which cracks the shit out of me. Also, the GM and manager who selected me in the 9th round of this year's draft, he batted 674. He had a great season. Also told me you got to play third because we don't want you.
So now is it all a redraft now?
Everybody goes back in the draft next year. I think I'll play next year. But like,
what do you think? What do you think as far as your stock?
It gets worse. It gets worse for me. I was like, really? So everybody plays on different teams? And the guy goes, no. Early in the draft, guys try to get the better players. He goes, by the time they get down to you, like, Nick's just going to take you because you're playing with him last year. Like, I mean, nobody's going to want me. Oh, my God.
That's not a bad thing. I mean, if he likes you and he
like it. Yeah, I'm going to play, Afterwards, we drank in the parking lot. It was like 100, the whole league parties in the parking lot out of the finals. Anyway, it was I had a blast this year. It let me know I could still play. I'm limited now. I don't have the speed anymore. But the part of me was like, you know what? This year kind of fell into me. I think next year I'm going to be a little more, I'll try to lose 2 pounds, maybe go to the cages a week before. But I started off good. And then
do you have to live in Mahwah to play in this league?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, all right.
So it's
I was going to say, maybe I'll throw my hat in the draft.
There we go. I'd love to have you up for a game. You'd laugh your ass off. Maybe I'll be like Joe Rogan next year. I'll have exclusive coverage, Chop Sports. Yankees playing a little bit better since they got Jazz, whatever. Jazz.
It's not hard. It's Jazz Chisholm. That's it.
Jazz. I'll call him Chaz.
And your boy with the 10th inning walk-off the other night, DJ LeMahieu, the Warrior is back. So that's cool.
Listen, everybody knows I love Stanton, but man, I watched the game Sunday, and they're walking Judge all the time. Stanton got up with second and third 5 times. and in a close game, and he didn't do shit. The only thing I'll say about Stanton since he came back, different than past come back from injury, he's not striking out as much. He's making contact. Because I don't know if you remember
last year. A longer bat is what they did.
Well, let me tell you something. Remember 2 years ago or a year ago? It was like, it looked like
an automatic strikeout.
Hey, Giancarlo, there's a new sport. It's called baseball. Why don't you come on over and try it? Like he had no clue. But he's got to start hitting. It's nice to see the other guys hitting a little bit. Hard Knocks, the Giants. I still think the Giants came off unimpressive. Maybe I'm in the minority on this. Maybe it's because I just saw them
fight yesterday.
Yeah, but that's regular Hard Knocks, which tonight is the.
No, but I mean, like what I'm saying is like the Giants seemed very vanilla throughout the whole offseason Hard Knocks thing, and I didn't see the last episode. I'll probably catch up today at some point, but yeah, there was a fight yesterday with their rookie receiver.
I saw it.
And I'm like, okay, and of course, I hate the Giants. I hope they go 0-17, but I will say that was the first sign of like life that I saw out of the Giants.
Do you think, Campbell, coach of the Lions, he coached with Dable. I think these guys meet on like the 50-yard line and while they're playing, and I think they go, hey, how's your camp going? The guys are being, tell you what, let's let them go a little bit. Something happens. There's no doubt about it. And then you see afterwards, well, it's hot out there. And then somebody got near Daniel Jones and Dable started barking. And I think these guys.
Does anybody look more like a killer than Daniel Jones? Like, how many bodies does that guy have buried in his floorboards at home? Every time there's an interview, he's like, just this wide-eyed. I'm just like, he's either on coke or he's a killer.
He's a killer. He could be. Maybe he's a serial killer. But I still say I'll go on prediction. I think Daniel Jones is, because I think this guy Neighbors is going to be halfway decent. Giants haven't had a halfway decent receiver in 10 years since what's his name, Beckham. I think Daniel Jones is going to light it up. I do. I think he's fine. NFL. I think he's going to have better statistics than Love on Green Bay. You heard it here first.
Oh my God, Jimmy! Okay. Please don't do that. If Chris Gucci's why he just drove off the road. Like that is not even remotely.
They just ranked. First of
all possible.
They just ranked the quarterbacks on ESPN.
And their rankings are always bullshit. I don't listen to any of that shit. Unless Dak is one, then I'm like, I don't buy it.
What were they rank? They had Love at like 17. That's so beatable. All you got to do is be better than half the quarterbacks, and you're better than Love. Come on now.
Yeah, but stats
you just got a big.
You're offbeat.
All right, well, let's see. We can't run the ball now. No more Barkley. We got a wide receiver now. Oh, you know what I hope?
R&B music videos and retiring. So it's like you better find out.
Well, he stunk anyway. We got rid of him. Here's what's going to happen. Did CeeDee Lamb sign yet with the Cowboys?
No.
I can't wait. Lamb to the left side, Neighbors to the right. Jones has all day to throw.
No, even worse. You know how like
he'll go to the Eagles.
Twitter is a magical place, and I've been seeing edits that you can like jersey swap. Like just kind of like put him in a different jersey. What he look like? Giants fans are licking their chops, hoping that Dak Prescott doesn't get an extension, because if he doesn't, the Giants are going to pay and move heaven and earth to get Dak Prescott to be their quarterback.
They could. They could.
And if that happens, Jimmy, you heard it here on the Jimmy Palumbo show. If Dak Prescott leaves the Dallas Cowboys and signs with the New York Giants, I am done with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm telling you right now.
I don't think Jones ain't going to let that. Jones ain't going to let that.
Of course.
Because you know why? Who they're going to get now? If the Cowboys if they're 2-14 this year, then they have a shot at a QB.
I don't even know. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you if next year's quarterback class is as good as this year's. I have no idea. But
you know
I don't know. But the Cowboys that goes to my argument that franchise quarterbacks don't grow on trees. You know what I mean? Like you need your guy, and if you don't have your guy, you are completely screwed. And like that's the blood and the heartbeat of your team. Like so, if they thought Daniel Jones was the guy when they signed him to the 4-year deal, then that's it. Like no questions asked. Trust the system. Go for it.
Unless he sucks.
Or he's just completely he can't see the field because he's always injured. Then you have to start thinking about some different things.
But one thing about Daniel Jones, he's never. I always thought Daniel Jones' problem was that he had no one around him. Really, it wasn't like you watched Daniel Jones and went.
When you have, like, for instance, when Dak was a rookie, he had rookie Zeke next to him, so it was like very easy for him to kind of navigate, and he almost won.
And Jones had Barkley, so that helped.
Jones had Barkley, which is always good
for half the year.
for half, right? And then like even in the last couple of years, Barkley's been hampered. I think 1 year he played a significant amount of time, but other than that, he was out a lot. And when you look at the Giants' makeup, they needed to run the damn ball and they couldn't, and they let him walk out the door. And now you are going to see what Daniel Jones is all about, because if he gets on field September, whenever the hell, the first week, like that,
I think Neighbors is going to be awesome. And I think Jones is going to be, that's going to open up.
He absolutely.
And we also drafted a tight end early.
And you have Bellinger. I like Bellinger. Like, but I
think Jones. Yeah, it's put it this way: it's in front of Daniel Jones now on the table. Oh, how well he does! But I think he throws a nice ball. He's going to do fine.
You just hit him with the Aaron Boone line. It's all right out there in front of us.
No, it is. It is, because you know what? End of the year, if he doesn't get hurt, barring injuries, which 8 times out of 10 injuries cause anyway. I think Jones is going to do fine. I don't know how good the Giants are going to be. I think they're in that 7 to 9.
Would you sign up? Would you sign up right now? Like, perfect scenario. Would you sign up for like 8 and 9 and miss the playoffs by like a game or 2?
No, that stinks.
Oh, you want them to what? Make the playoffs with the roster they have?
I think they're going to win 7, 8, or 9 games. They're going to be in that zone.
I think they're in the top 5 of next year's draft. That's just me. Their roster is not deep. And their defense is good. Don't get me wrong. And a new defensive coordinator. Wink is out. They got a new guy. I like him. But I don't know, man. Just not a lot of skill position players. Neighbors is going to be good, but like, you can't just do it with one guy. Look at the Cowboys right now. They're hampered without CD because he's holding out. And I'm not saying they're not playing well in practice, but it's practice. Nobody knows, you know?
Yeah, but the Giants have improved their one of their skill position players.
Offensive line, they got a little better.
I think it's going to be the other way. We are going to be proven that you do not need Barkley. Just throw another guy in there. I'll call it the Isaiah Pacheco rule. Just put a guy from Rutgers who got drafted in the 48th round. He'll do fine. And when you watch the playoffs, all the running backs are like, guys, who's this guy? So I think Barkley is going to be proven to be not worth the money. And I think the Giant running game will be about the same as it was the last few years. And I think they got a better receiver. I think they picked up some better defensive ends. The Giants, I disagree with you completely. I think they had a good offseason. They got a couple of pass rushers that can put pressure. I think Thibodeau stinks.
I told you the defense is going to be good.
Yeah, and they got their quarterback. They got their quarterback back. They got a new receiver. I mean,
see, you say they got their quarterback. I don't agree at all. Like, I just don't think he's any good. There's been games where he flashed and he's like, oh, he's a gamer. Cool. But like, overall,
Jones did not have that many games where he was like, oh my God, Jones was awful. I mean, not many, a few.
Well, there was a point in his career where every week you're waiting when the turnover was going to happen.
Still got him to the playoffs. He beat Cousins 1 year. I mean, I think everybody's hard on Daniel Jones. I think he'll do just fine, but I don't know. I've 7, 8, 9 wins. I think the beginning of the year is key for the Giants because, like any other sport, you build momentum. What else? Well, was at my mother's yesterday. I love those segues. We had a fantasy draft in our family yesterday.
It's very early, no?
No. Fantasy draft of pictures that need to be hung. So my mother bought 3 shelves. My mother buys everything on Facebook and Amazon. Oh, they send me emails. I bought some shelves and we have to go hang them up. And my brother finally came down. My brother is A-type personality. All right, we're going to hang the shelves. Let's go. And I'm like, well, Mom, we may have decisions of where she wants them hung. My brother was just blitzing on every down. And we finally put the shelves on. Then my sister shows up, and she's like Lawrence Taylor. And there I am in the middle. I felt like a young Brian Cashman trying to put this all together. And we had all these boxes of photos, right? So we me and my brother hung them up. My brother did a great job. I would have fucked that up. He did a great job hanging these shelves. And we had to figure out what pictures are going to hang on, right? So all of a sudden we're doing, and all of a sudden it was like, my daughter wasn't on any of the shelves. And then my brother goes, well, only one picture of my kid. We were like, wait a minute, we got to add. And then there was like a couple of aunts and uncles. And we were like, nah, they got to go. So we took off aunts and uncles, then we added another. So I was sitting there, me and my sister were arguing over how many pictures of their kids are up there.
Wait, I'm getting word. In the 11th pick of the pictures, we got a young Drew Palumbo. Drew is in the game. That's great.
So we were laughing over that. My mother was yelling, I like them all. I want them all. My sister was like, Ma, you have 130 pictures here. We only can hang 20 of them. And then my father started off really well. God rest his soul, right? My dad was like, it was like a young Lou Gehrig up there, right? By the end of the day, there's like one small picture of my father in the corner. He just got, she was treating him like he was a real person. Like, oh, just put Artie over there. Just put him down over there. I was like, Ma, that's a nice picture.
If you walk around, I mean, you've been to my house for the birthday party, but if you walk around my house and you actually pay attention, there's not a single shot of Miles anywhere. It's like we haven't adjusted yet. You know what I mean? Like we haven't like got the, and I said to Steph, I said, look, I'll go get some frames. She's like, I'll get frames. And I'm like, no,
you don't get involved in framing.
I'm gonna go get frames. Like, and they're like, no. They gotta be nice. They gotta be this. They gotta be this color. I'm like,
dude, I'm telling you right now, if I'm coaching you, I'm getting you out of the game. Get him out. Get him out. He's gonna start picking out frames. You'll buy it. By the way, one shitty frame that you buy can cost you like a week of your marriage. Like, you went with the dark brown. What year? I know. And then you'll buy a shitty one. It'll break, and it'll be like plastic, not the glass, or now they have that glass plastic where it looks like glass, but it's
like hockey boards at this point. It's like plexiglass.
I would stay out of that. And then you got to hang them. Then you got to be crooked. Everybody's like, oh, just throw a nail in. Yeah, good luck with that.
I am not the hanger in this house. And she's 5 foot nothing, but she's just like on 18 chairs.
Well,
like, I'm going to do this. I'm like,
tell her, you know what? Tell her, pay for the frames and say I'm going to play golf when I come home. I want everything hung because I don't want to get.
I did get home from Cleveland and I looked around. I was like, house is really clean. Good job. You know, like I know I didn't do it, so it's great.
And you go to Cleveland and your wife trying to cover Miles and Stella.
Ready for that, Jimmy. Not what's today? The 6th. Yeah. So next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, for the first time ever in my dadhood,
you got 3 days.
It's just me and the kids.
Where's your wife?
Got to go travel to San Francisco for work, and I'm like, dude. Tuesday's show will be electric. Must tune in to an update as to if there's limbs anywhere, if there's broken bones anywhere. Like I love it. My kids, I said, look, when mom's gone, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Just don't hurt each other and don't stay in the rugs. Like, and that's
Miles is talking to Stella. All we got to do is flood the zone. Dad can't cover his boat. That's it. He's gonna go.
We're gonna disguise the blitz. He won't even see it coming.
He won't see it coming.
Yeah, and you're just gonna get.
That's it.
I'll sit back just like this.
That's it. Miles is gonna do an 8-yard down and out, and Stella's gonna run a fly pattern, and you cannot get back in time.
Coverage.
You know what? Who you can somehow your dad, your brother, you call it. You're gonna be bringing in Tom Coughlin to
Just give me the
actually
give me the reliever.
We should do the show next week with your kids just sitting around a table.
No, they're fucking daycare. There's no way I can handle that shit.
I love it. That's awesome. So we had fun on my mom. We finally got it all done. But you realize your mother, the new rule should be this. No one over 75 should be allowed to go to Costco. Okay. Because older people buy, my mother's 84. They think they need, I might need it. I was like, Mom, you have 11 bottles of OxyClean stain remover. What's going on here? And they're all in the package as well. My mother could shop at 7-Eleven for the rest of her life, eat, have cleanliness, food. My mother has enough laundry products at 85 years old to the whole community. She can totally. And then my sister comes in, and of course she's a little more frugal and caring. So what I do is, my mother buys the wine at Costco. She buys 40 bottles of wine. So when I go there, I just go, Mom, I'm taking these. I take the booze. I take this. Here's the best. I ran out of tinfoil 2 days ago, right? Who runs out of tinfoil? I do. My mother goes, see? I never run out of tinfoil. It's like, okay.
See, the difference between an older, mature, seasoned vet and then the difference between me. I remember when we first went to Costco when we opened up the studio, and I was like, well, what do we need at the studio, right? And I'm just like, I got it. And then next thing you know, you look at Chris Gucci and he's got holding it like a football. I said, what are those? He goes, pretzels with peanut butter inside.
We don't need that.
And then the shit we bought, there's no reason for that at all.
It's so
no
great.
Reason.
My mother does.
They were delicious, though, I gotta say.
and I walked out of there with tinfoil. And then everything she buys is on Facebook. I got a vegetable peeler, a chopping knife. I go, Ma, I have that. No, but I heard this is really good, high quality product. Facebook sells the highest of quality stuff. But we got her pictures hung. Then we had it. Then my brother, of course, hit and run, hang the shelves, gone. Me and my sister hanging out, cleaning out the garage. And the next thing you know, I end up having dinner with my mom, which I love. And we sit there, and I wasn't really that hungry because I got fed all day. So I felt fat. We go out to dinner, and next thing you know, I'm ordering like, give me a fried cauliflower. And then I realized, does anybody actually read the things that are on a table? Like what nights have special, Tuesday nights, $5 margaritas. I see oysters, $1 a pop at the. I ordered 6 oysters for $6. My mother was yelling at me. I had oysters last night. What a fat fuck I was. I hung a shelf and a half, and I ate like shit.
For whatever reason, and I'm not sure why, StreamYard is not showing all the comments. It's showing a lot of the YouTube comments. So I went over to Facebook just to see who was chiming in, and there's a direct quote that says, "That was the dumbest comment he's made to date," and that's Chris Gucci about Daniel Jones being better than Jordan Love. So
okay, well,
I had to circle back and
all right, but hang on. What categories are we going to go by?
Well, he said NFL top 100. Love was 7. Like NFL top 100 players.
I just read it. The New York Post. That's a decent sports section. They had it like, okay. So what stats we're going to go by?
I mean, it's
yards.
If it's yards,
touchdowns,
then it's also not going to be close.
what are the 5 stats?
Give me touchdowns. I'll give the Love. Yards. I'll give the Love. Interceptions. I'll give the Jones.
What stats are we're going to go by? Touchdowns, yards.
Sure.
Wins. Got to factor wins.
Yeah, you don't think the Packers are going to be better than the Giants?
I'm telling you right now, this Chad Jones is going to have a fine season. And by the way, I think Love deserved the money because they had no other.
Nobody deserves any kind of money like that.
Within the NFL,
I understand why he got it, but again,
just like Dak, Jones, and none of them deserve that.
They're all same guys.
And like, is Mahomes' contract anywhere near? What is he going to have?
A 10-year deal for like $500 million. So he's just kind of reworking that a bunch of times just to help out the cap stuff. But that's really.
And by the way, they all get them when they rework stuff. You're like 17 years from now, you're going to read a little article. And Mahomes finally got his last check based on redoing the cut. They all get their money.
It's called kicking the can down the road.
I'm having some fun. I think Jones is going to have a good year, and I think because I said Love because I know Gucci's listening. And I don't think I'll tell you one thing: 32 quarterbacks, based upon non-injuries, maybe a game or two. Everybody gets hurt a game or two sometimes. Where do you think Jones will be ranked in touch? There's got to be an algorithm. We'll go by ESPN rankings, or we'll go by a ranking that's legitimate.
To me, Jones will.
Where will he be ranked?
I think he's going to fall right around 18 to 20. You take that? Because that would I'm not.
I'll
talking
tell you right now. This is where. But wait a minute. If Jones finishes 18th, the Giants are definitely winning 9 or more because their defense is going to be fine.
I don't know. Maybe I'll put him at like 21.
There you go.
That's not 20.
I just making a prediction. Everybody thinks Jones is going to suck. I don't, and I think Barkley will be a bust in Philly. Although if he doesn't get hurt with that offensive line, it could be trouble. I think we play them late. He'll be hurt by then, I hope. Anyway, so I'm also this show's all over the fucking place. So what? The other thing with the Olympics is, and we got 2 guys fighting for the women's title. And that whole thing's a joke. I don't understand any of that. I mean, to me,
it's very simple. It's cut and dry. For me, it's very simple. And it has nothing to do with whatever she identifies as. It's that last year in the world qualifiers, she was disqualified from female competition. Therefore, what in God's creation changed between then and now?
Crazy.
So why is she even here? Right? Like, that's it. For me, that's it. Like, it has nothing to do with,
I tell you what, this is why
biological chromosomes and shit. I'm talking like if you were banned, that's like saying Barry Bonds or Pete Rose, right? Pete Rose banned from baseball, right? The next year, we'll let him in. It's like, you banned him. Why?
You banned him. Listen, I think to me, I would go by the other rule. When you were in ninth grade, if you had a vajayjay, you're a woman. If you had balls, you're a guy. But even more importantly, I think pole vaulting should decide. Because when you go up over the pole, and if your balls hits the pole like that one guy, nobody's seen it. Is anybody questioning his? He's not. That guy cannot be a woman pole vaulter. Why? Because his balls blew out the pole. So that's what we go by. So we go the Olympic trials. You say, listen, oh, you're a woman. Tell you what, get on, do a pole vault. We'll see what happens over there. If your balls hit the thing, you're out. I can tell you. Even though you take the pills that shrivel. I have nothing against the guy. He can do whatever he wants, but sports have to be fair. Part of me wants like Mike Tyson to declare himself a woman and get
what I said and suggested, and again, nobody's going to listen to me, but I'm saying like what I would suggest is if there's any kind of discrepancy at all, and you have something extra in your blood, or you have you decided to turn or whatever, create a separate division. Even the playing field that way. You want to, if you were a guy that turned into a girl, go against another guy who turned into a girl.
That's it. That's not bad. That's not a good idea.
I don't know how else to do it because it's so now.
How are they going to do it? It's tranny day here at the stadium.
I'm just saying if it's socially acceptable, which it is, right? And you do whatever you got to do and
stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
Go fucking stay. Yeah, go compete and knock the shit out of somebody else who used to be a guy. That's all. And if that's the case, I've read a trillion articles about the Olympics alone. And I knew this was going to happen, dude. You knew it too. The Olympics are never going to be what they used to be, like the pageantry and everything, very exciting. And Muhammad Ali was all
professionals now, and
it's just not. It's just not the Olympics are not the Olympics anymore. It's a who can. I almost said a dick swinging contest, but I guess that makes sense. Yeah. But you know what I mean? But that's what it is. These countries are doing. They're hosting things. They're doing the final supper. It's not the final supper. It's Greek mythology. No, it's the final supper. It's like, bro, just go show me a fucking track meet. Go let me watch Phelps's protege kick ass in the fucking butterfly.
And the woman, what's her name, Ledecky, whatever her name is, she won 17 gold medals, and then you had
and showing my daughter and showing my daughter Simone, her last name forget her name.
Simone Biles.
Her,
she's awesome.
Showing her that is making my daughter I want to do that. That's the kind of shit that you want to show her, not hey, Stella, if you want to box, you got to be careful because once upon a time there was a guy who went out and just murked the fucking girl.
Well, listen,
and
when you're watching
the whole big thing,
when you're watching the kids next week by yourself, you're gonna have to sit them both down and say, "Now, listen, Miles, you have to box in the men's division, and Stella, you go in the women's division. That's all you got to do.
If you want to box each other now, it's fine. There's a legal way to do this. All right, just don't go to the Olympics to do it."
I love it. Yeah, that was crazy. Also, what else did I do? I watched. Did you ever see that documentary 30 for 30? Doc and Daryl. Did you ever catch that one?
Yeah, I saw that one. It was good.
Yeah, it was on a while. It was very good. Some of the things I didn't realize. I didn't realize how really messed up they were. And Doc couldn't. Daryl seems to be fine. Doc, I'm not so sure. He looks like he's a little shaky still, but I enjoyed that one big time. That was cool as shit. Also, another big news here at Shea. Beer league screening is definitely going to happen. We think it's just.
I got that text from Tom, and I haven't responded by accident. It just passed me by. And
yeah, we got to get together. It looks like it's going to be September 13th. When is your Staten Island thing?
The 21st of September.
All right, this will be the Friday night before that.
That's fine.
You just have to be down by Atlantic Highlands, not too far. We're going to be at that Kevin Smith Theater.
Oh, cool.
But we're going to do heavy promotion because we have to pay for the rental. We have to pay for some shit. And,
okay.
I'm hoping to bring some cast members down. Of course, Artie's always invited. And so that should be fun. We're going to show the movie, and afterwards we're going to show the pilot. So I think that'll be kind of cool. Soon as we find out how we project it.
Are we selling tickets or how?
Yeah, the theater handles that. So it'll just be a link straight in. They take a percentage of that, the tickets and all that crap. And we just got to cover our nut. And we're gonna do it, and maybe I'll speak afterwards, and you can. Maybe we'll have a little. Maybe I'll have you be the host of the.
You want a Q&A or something?
Yeah, maybe we'll do that because the beer league's only about an hour. It'll be like an hour and 50 minutes of screen time, and then we'll do a quick. If we can get,
you make a night of it,
That's what we're gonna try to do. I'd love to have it sell out. Be cool as shit. So that's good news there.
Well, get me the information so I can, get it out there.
We have to have a conference call, and
that's fine.
if we can find where Tom Baldinger is the director of that. he's
Gucci can't find him either. So
we're gonna have Gucci and Tom Baldinger do a short film. It'll be ready in 2047. So cornholelevel.com. Go check it out right here. I got it.
Segway day here.
Segway day here. Listen, this week, all of our cornholes are shaky. You got to get these things. They're really, let me try to bring it up close. Anybody's watching. You throw this thing on, it hooks on, and you know what the right angle is, especially you got like a shitty backyard and it's like wobbly. You put this on and you get your,
don't put the board there. The dog dug there. Go over there.
Move it over here. You put it on dog shit. Just don't have it on a day it's 100 degrees like Dave did his daughter's birthday party.
Yeah, that was my fault. You're right.
We lost 4 kids that day. They're still
4 kids, 40 pounds of water.
So go to cornholelevel.com, put in JP show, and you will get a discount of 20% off your thing there. Me and Dave have been kicking around this show since it's crazy anyway. We've been kicking around the idea of like, I know I'm not saying our show's going to become Dr. Phil, but we were like kicking around about like, we both talk off camera a lot about the trials and tribulations of showbiz and life and kids. And we often talk about counseling. You know, Dave's been in counseling. I've been in counseling over the years. And I was like, you know what, should we do like I know we've talked about it a little bit, but like, should we do a show where I figure, you know what, end of the show, we'll talk a little bit about it. Now I feel like the only way for me to do this with a straight face, and believe me, we're not going to go into the details about our lives that much. But we're going to talk about almost like,
and there I was naked in Route 9. Yeah, I was hoping for the worst, you know, it's like, what?
Wait, then I yelled out, no, don't touch me there. But the, I realized the only way to do it is like the back of a baseball card. I've been to 5 different counselors. Okay. I was going through it, but the first one I went to, I thought the lady, I'd never been in a room. I walk in the room. I thought the lady was rude. I swear to God. She was like almost yelling at me like, you did what? And then I was like, well, you know, I was trying to be open. And then, so I was like, and her room was dark and damp. And all she wanted was like the credit card. And I was like, well, hang on here. Like, you know, what if I was ready to like jump off a bridge and you're making me sign shit? Like, what are we doing? And so I couldn't do, and she had like this straight brown hair. I couldn't stand looking at her. I was like, this lady's, I don't like her. So I ended up at another one. Okay.
I'm going to cancel. Why is that? Well, you're hard to look at.
I was like, no, she just was like nasty. And I was like, oh, her room didn't have like, you know, usually they have those little like waterfall things and the noise.
It feels welcoming.
I felt like I was at like, I don't know, Ace Hardware picking up a fence or something. So now the second one I went to, okay, at one point, I thought I was her counselor. She was stressed out. She had a child that was like sick, and the school was calling. She was getting, and she goes, "I'm sorry, I'm just rattled." I'm sitting here in the I'm sitting here in the 8th inning. I got 170 pitches up this year, and no one's coming out from it. I see no action in the bullpen. My manager, he got ejected. I'm like, and Palumbo, 119 pitches will go to the 8th. So I couldn't deal with her. She made me nervous. I was like, I told her what to do. Listen, go out, have a glass of wine, you'll be fine. What the fuck? Now the third one I ended up at, and by the way, this isn't in like 3 weeks. This is over a long period of time. She was very calm, but she was like an older grandmother kind of lady, and she's been there, done that. She gave great advice, and that's what I learned. And it's important for people out there. If anybody's struggling, please call somebody. Lisa Ruane, which I'll talk about at the end. This third lady, though, that's what I learned. Oh, this is how it works. She gave great advice every week. Like, hey, you know, you should. But dude, I couldn't like executing the good advice, even though it wasn't like you know,
she's calling the plays, and you're suffering from delay of games over and over.
It's like, no, she's saying like, you know, wants to do it down and out here, and I went back to pass, and I nobody was going.
Check down to Barkley.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, we just hand it off and get out. Yeah, and then of course, if you're in with any kind of couple counseling and stuff like that, someone's got to run the down and out, and someone's got to pass the ball down. There was a couple times where I threw a bullet 8-yard down and out. It just skipped into the sideline with nobody there. And other times, someone else made a perfect down and out. I just lofted one way foul. But she was very calming. Then all of a sudden, she go there for trying to help get. And next thing you know, she's talking about her. Well, I got married 4 times. What the hell's going on? Then you realize, my God, these counselors suck. Like, what the fuck? She was a nice lady. She gave me good advice. Then I went to the 4th one, and I loved her the best. It was about 4 years ago. And what I loved about her is, she was from Europe. She don't know who the Cowboys are, the Giants, sports. She didn't know about Showbiz. I would come back from a set like, yeah, I just worked on, Gotham. She'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm unfamiliar with that show. And I was like, do you watch Friends? I threw everything. I was like, she goes, oh, me and my husband, we don't have a television in the house. The next one, I'm talking over. I needed it. She was great though. She's the one I still deal with. And she was wonderful. You know why? She was no nonsense. She gave, she was able to calm you down. Like, okay, this is the situation. Let me, and that was the best because she just was like, it's going to be okay to do this and the other thing, and be careful of this. That she also said stuff, not research shows, but she was like, in my experience and some of the stuff I've read, many times this happens. And I would say she's like 95% correct, especially some stuff, that with my family and stuff, she called it like that's what usually happens. And she always, anytime I was down and out, she always asked like, hey, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. It was more about like blues counseling than it was, but that's what happens. It starts off as the blues. And then over time, a lot of people get a little banged up. And the last one I dealt with was really with my daughter and stuff. She was too like deadhead, peace and love, and everything is cool. And
smoke weed.
Yeah. And I was like,
even my daughter? Yeah, no, even her.
Yeah, it was part of me that wanted to go like, no, it's not cool. No, but anyway, they all the counselors. I don't mean this is a serious subject. And I'm introducing it in a ball breaking way. They all mostly, though, I would say 80% of the time, they give out great advice. But the hard and so did some of my friends and family. But sometimes it's like studying the playbook in an office, and then you go out in the field, and you're covering CeeDee Lamb, and you got Dak Prescott throwing the ball, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wait a minute, it's hard to cover him, and Prescott's throwing bullets, and all of a sudden the advice, your technique is it becomes I don't know if you've had this experience. It's like, wow, the game moves. It moves faster when you're dealing with an issue, someone at work, a family member, a child, whatever. And especially when there's things that are out of your control. And I think it's that AA thing, bless me for the things I can't control, whatever that is, a long, correct statement.
Yeah. I don't have 5 like you. I have 2. But right. The first one was 2018. And then that same one I revisited in 2020 when everybody needed it at some point in 2020. But she came off as like my grandma, and it really like hairstyle, look, voice, everything. I was like,
right.
Okay, I'm talking to my grandma here. Like this is weird. It was great. It was gentle. It was everything I needed. But now the new one, I'm only like 4 sessions deep now in 2024, and she's a little bit harder. But like me and you joke around all the time, like self-deprecation day here at Shay.
Right.
She'll stop me mid-sentence, and I'm like, I'll be like, yeah, and then stupid me. She's like, oh, don't. I'm like, what?
I know.
What did I say? She's like, you called yourself stupid. I'm like, did I? I'm very like that, and I have this real big issue with like worrying about like tomorrow instead of like reliving right now. And that's a big thing because my mind is always spinning, and I got 3 businesses I own, 2 kids, married at home, like house, mortgage, bills, Jimmy Palumbo show. There's a lot of intangibles that are in my life. And it's like, okay, like once this show is over, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go edit it. I'm going to go get some clips. I'm going to do all that. And that's fine. But then I'm like, okay, but what about tomorrow? What do we got lined up for tomorrow? And it's just like, I can't live in the moment lately.
Yep.
And that's what I'm working on. But that's the problem, Jimmy. You hit the nail on the head before. They're like, it's like, I feel like I'm a little stressed. I'm just a little stressed, a little anxiety here and there. But then like by session 4 already, she's like, well, tell me about your mother. And I was like, oh, all right, you're on to something here. Right. We're going to get to the root of this. And I was like, Mom, so there's a lot of shit that can screw you up down like when you're a kid. And I'm not saying, look, like I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I was taken care of. My dad took great care of me. But Mom it's another character, she's another character in my life that played a role, and whether it be big or small, whatever. But a lot of the things, and this is like not too dark and deep, but like I can't remember. My parents got divorced at like 8 when I was 8. So like I can't even remember like any good times, not one, like with them together and me and my brother together. It's crazy. It's like blocked. And I'm just like, you're telling me like, we went to Disney World this time and that. I can't think of shit, but like I can tell you what, I did right after that. Like it's weird, bro. But like, yeah, man, listen, it's a very good thing for me.
That's why counseling, you can't. I know some people who have gone to counseling and they go for like 3 sessions. It didn't really work. And I'm like,
the patience thing is a very big deal.
And there's a cost.
The cost for me is very tough because now, let's just say, I'm going to call it out, is the Jimmy Palumbo show now funds my therapy, right? Well, like that's where I'm at. And I'm like, because things just cost what they cost, and mental health is not really like,
no, it's tough.
The forefront of people's coverage, so it's like, it does cost a lot of money. It's not an overnight fix. And that's the problem. You said it before, where if like they give you all the advice you want, they'll give you the playbook and they're saying, go ahead and execute that. I can come, get in my car and kind of like exhale and be like, wow, that was really good. But then the first person to cut me off, I'm like, you motherfucker, and I'll go right back to where I was. And I'm just like, oh man, like, was that session a waste? Was that like whole thing a waste because you just went right back to where you were, angry and fucking all the time.
When you go once a week, they sometimes like they say, how's your week? And sometimes you're like a news anchor. Oh, well, Tuesday it rained, and then Wednesday I played softball. Thursday I got in an argument with so and so, and you're going through the week, and all of a sudden she's like, all right, like how did you feel? What were your thought process? And that's when you go like, oh, yeah, well, it sucked that it rained. I was mad over that, and then, like, and all of a sudden they bring it back when they know what they're doing. But it's I tell
you what, man, I have, and I said it today publicly. I said, if everybody has that like hypothetical question, like, if you had to choose one superpower, what would it be? Right? And I would love to fly. I would love to teleport. I would love to do this. I would love to do that. Me, I would love to just like literally take my own advice that I give other people and literally see what everybody else sees that I'm not seeing. Because like if I'm at the gym and I feel good about myself, but then like one bad angle, I'm just like, what are you even doing here, you fat fuck? You know what I mean? Like, but then somebody will look at me like some huge guy walked up to me last week and was like, hey man, what's your diet, bro? Because like I want to look like you. And I'm just like, and he's huge. And I'm just like, look like me. I said, what's my diet? I said, carbs. That's my diet. I was like, I don't know how to define this. But like in that moment, I should have been like, that felt really good. But like I put myself right back down. I was like, nah, dude, don't look like me. I suck.
Right. And you start, I know you.
I'm at, and I have to change that shit.
Self-deprecating humor, which I do all the time, but sometimes we do it for comedy purposes, and but it becomes a little bit of a little bit too much, and then when you hear the other thing that's hard, I guess I think a lot of my blues, we'll call it that, without going too deep, is really related to showbiz and career-wise, and I hate that because that you got to be careful when you're like, say you get signed by SmackDown to be their host tomorrow. Great news, right? Oh my God, Dave Sturgill, he's making $1 million a year now, blah, blah, blah. Whatever's bothering you, that ain't going away. Yeah, you're going to be doing the big stuff, but you still got your kids. So when you're only basing your happiness on good news on showbiz, now for me, it's a little different because it's like audition, booking, that kind of thing. And I've even in many acting classes, teachers said, listen, don't be just happy when you're working, because as an actor, you ain't working that much, and you may have to DoorDash, bartend, Uber, whatever you got to do. And I've done them all. And then you get mad at yourself, like, I don't want to be the guy who's only happy. And I'll bring it back to, we do cover sports on this show. There are some times, especially since I got divorced and my career's going shitty. And especially on Saturdays, I'll go to a Rutgers game and Rutgers will get smoked in a game I don't think they should get smoked. And then I drive home on Route 287 and it's like, I'm like really a miserable bastard. I'm driving home and then I say to myself, Jimmy, you're letting a football game or Dallas losing on Sunday to the Giants to make you got Chop Sports, you got kids, you got a what? So, but sometimes though, it takes you a half hour till your brain goes, dude, really? You got Stella and Miles are at home.
That's where I'm at with a lot of this. I'm at that whole like my family at home knows. Give him a beat. Give Daddy some time. He needs about 15 minutes. He'll come back down and hug the shit out of you. Just give him 15 minutes to go punch a mattress. You know what I mean? Right. Like, because that's
what I try. I know you're into football because it's what your career is and all that, wrestling, all that shit. And you're a big Cowboy fan, but I can guarantee you though, as you get older, you'll still be pissed when they lose. I'm pissed when the Giants lose. I'm pissed when Rutgers loses. But I guarantee you, like, you won't be those bad losses where you just want to throw up.
Well, I can tell you right now, I've modeled. I think my goal is to be, and it's always been this way. My goal is to be my dad in all aspects.
I bet your dad has an even keel after they lose, much more than you do. I guarantee it.
It's a lot more. It's even. It's like if Prescott throws a bad interception, he'll let out a "You got to be fucking kidding me," right? But then, like, he'll come down and that'll be it. And the season will end, right? Because Dallas's seasons have ended tragically for the last 30 years of my life. The season will end. We'll hug. He'll say, like, usually he'll say, like, we'll get him next year as a joke. Now it's a running joke. Right. But after we lost to Green Bay, he's like, I'm not watching until January.
That's great.
He has nothing to do with any of these regular season meaningless bullshit games. We'll get to the playoffs. And then we'll see what happens.
Right. So, yeah, but when
he has gotten a lot better. I've heard stories. My mom told me
horror
stories.
He was just like you. I'm sure. Listen. I'm a huge Giant fan, big Rutgers fan, big Yankee fan too. And like when the Yankees lost in '95, here comes Junior. I was with Deej at a bar. We parted ways without saying goodbye. Like I gave him a look like I'm hurt. I'm going to bleed out on the way home. No sense dying in front of you. You know what I mean? It's just.
And back then, you can't send a text. You
got to
wait for you to get home for the landline.
I always tell this story. We had a friend, Cliff.
Your answering machine, like, you reach Jimmy. I'm not here right now. Leave a message.
I tell two stories about that night that to me are funny. Our buddy Cliff wasn't really a Yankee fan. He was a general sports fan. We went to this killer sports bar to watch the game 5. There was girls around, but everybody was watching a game. But Cliff was kind of like, he had no skin in the game, right? So when the game's over,
doesn't that piss you off more that you're
a little bit? He was closer to Deej than me. So afterwards, we get outside and we were just like, we're getting ready to leave. Our bar tab was like $350. Like, I had no money. My team lost. Right? All the blues were kicking in. And Cliff starts talking about auditions or an acting class or something. And I'm like, he was bigger than me. I wanted to tell him, hey, Cliff, why don't you walk away? And I never want to see you again. I was in that mode. And Deej looks at him passionately. Okay. Alphonse from Beer League. He's like, Cliff, I love you to death, but we can't do this right now. Me and Jimmy are bleeding out. And we gotta go. So I walked home. I walked home, and there were payphones back then. How pathetic is this? I called you gotta put your number through a credit card. Okay. Vinny Del Santro. Anyway, so I call up Connecticut. My cousin John's there. His wife answers. I was like, hey, Beth, is John there? And he said, no. I'm like, where is he? And he goes, well, he went for a walk. And I went, oh. And then I go, well, when's he coming back? She said, I don't know. I realized my cousin John is wandering the streets of Connecticut. I have to walk back, get on a train, I had to get on a train back to Jersey. I was pissed.
It's rough.
It's just, but
those are the worst people to watch a game with. And I have a best friend, Greg, and to this day, he'll ask you the dumbest question that will really, like, it makes no sense that he's asking this because he knows the answer, but he's just like nagging you. He's like, he's that friend. He's just like, Prescott's on the 4-yard line, and he's like, if they don't score, I bet you're gonna be pissed, huh?
I know.
Dude, shut
right,
the fuck up. Like, it's enough.
I almost got kicked at a Rutgers game. It's going back now. Early Shiano won. We're on the 40-yard line. Rutgers hadn't crossed the 40-yard line in like 8 series. We were down like 21-0 against like Temple. Wasn't like Penn State, Ohio. And I just stood up and I lost my mind publicly. Like, I was like screaming. I was like, he stink. I lost my, I was like screaming out. Some people were enjoying my little rant. One guy got so angry, it's guys like you who are so negative all the time. And I was like, negative? We haven't, it's been 3rd and 10 for an hour and a half. I had half the crowd on my side. One guy was like, let him speak. No one wants to hear your positive bullshit. And then I was sitting next to my brother and I didn't curse. And then I cursed. And my brother, like an older brother, bitch slap, just grabbed me and yanked me down. Because you don't curse. There's kids here. There's people. And I realized, he goes, everything you said was right until you cursed. And I realized. So ever since then, I don't curse during a game. But I say,
listen, Fox and Hound, R.I.P. Fox and Hound, pour one out, Edison Bar, right? They called me Cowboy Dave. Like, when I walked in on a Sunday to watch a football game, they all kind of like, oh, fuck. Like, they just knew that the intensity that I was going to bring was way too much for a sports bar. So then, like, honestly, I think it was 2017, something happened. Something triggered me where, like, the Cowboys were playing the Rams, and there was a Rams fan in front of me, and the Cowboys busted off a long run, and he's cheering. And I said, buddy, you got a Rams jersey on. What are you doing? He's like, oh, he's on my fantasy team. And I was like, I have to leave and never come back.
Right.
And I never went back. I never went back to a regular season Cowboys game at a bar. Not once.
I think that's good for you, and that'll be good because eventually
it's good for me. But the problem is, over time, my kids now are starting to say, like, Daddy's a little crazy, I'm just like, I try so hard, Jimmy. When I tell you I try so hard, but it's very, very hard for me not to. I don't like to curse too much, but like the things that came out of my mouth before my kids. The things that came out of my mouth to my wife she's in the present, and she's just like, you're a fucking animal. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, how are you speaking like this? And I'm just like, fuck it.
The best part of your future, though, is eventually, while the Cowboys are down 17-0, you're going to be watching On the Good Ship. Lollipop. Wasn't that wonderful? Wasn't that wonderful? Grandpa's here. And Uncle.
I'm going to set the bar a little different. All right, let's wrap this up.
But you know what? So listen, me and David kidding around, but we do we both have to talk each other off the cliff sometimes. But my buddy Joe Sinecor, who I deal with him at St. Paul's and Ramsey a lot, he just wrote something. There's a lot of weight on our shoulders, but we can't lose sight of the blessings we have, and that really, it's very true. And sometimes, you have to just take a breath and just try to fight through it. But life can be hard sometimes. And by the way, it was hard 70 years ago. It's just that today's society allows, like, you and I aren't talking like this. We're just at, we're at Main Street Tavern in Woodbridge.
As much as I like appreciate the platforms of social media and stuff, social media really ruined a lot of shit. It really did. Like, it gave the wrong people a chance to opinionate, like voice their opinion, and then the arguments start, and then you hate everybody, and then it's just like, I want to be in a room locked up where nobody can talk to me. Well, you know what I mean? So it ruined a lot of shit.
And also it ruined, you got to watch when you, keeping up with the Joneses or the grass is always greener. And I know if you have a friend of yours who's in the business, or you kind of maybe friendly competition, and you read about stuff, oh, it looks like he's got, oh my God, this actor's got so much going on. And all of a sudden, then when you talk to them, they're like, not really. It wasn't as big as you think. And then, that's why I'm always very careful when I post. I try not to. Some people might think I'm boasting. I think I'm pretty good at that. I try to remain keep it, just tell the facts, what's going on. I got good news. Here it is. But some people, I have some friends of mine who post some stuff, and I'm dying to private message them. And I actually type it out, and then I delete it. Say, Jimmy, I don't know this guy well enough, but I want to tell him you sound like a pompous ass. You're not even making all you're doing is saying how great you are. Who does that? And it's, but some of my posts may come off that way because
so Mike Marino, if you're listening,
no,
I'm kidding.
Marino's no, this guy is on my Facebook. He's his post. I never saw anything like it. Matter of fact, I'll show it to you off the show. But it's like, really, dude, like relax. But anyway, all right. Well, this show,
and also we don't need to. Drew Adelman, my man, love you. I don't need to see your abs every single day. I just don't, because I can't do it. So it's like, it's very defeating. You know what I mean? Like, my dude is like 55, a silver fox, and he looks like he's going to win Mr. Olympia tomorrow.
He always wins. First of all, Andrew, who I love busting his ball, he's in shape. His wife is hot. His kids are hot. It looks like he's successful. His posts are like I read a post. I was eating a bacon, egg, and cheese,
dancing,
reading one of his posts, and I was like, I bit into a gorgeous yolk, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't eat this. He's always in shape. Andrew, you're a badass. And listen, he wins. He's 58 years old. He just won.
Dude, looks like $1 million.
Unbelievable. He says he really works. It's unbelievable. I give him credit. I know what you mean. You're like, oh God. But anyway, forgot to mention Absolute Eyewear, 42 Main Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey, 732-326-3937. Go check him out. Charles Oakley hangs out there. That's funny to all of my fans. Don't forget Lisa Ruane. If you have some dealing with some mental stuff, give her a shout. 201-725-1251. She's cool. And also Pine Tar Bar and Grill. Tommy Plinio's Bar in Forked River on Main Street. It's awesome. Best sports bar in New Jersey. Well, I don't know what the hell this show is all about. Maybe we said shit we shouldn't have, but you know what? And then sometimes the Knicks want to talk it over. But I will say this to my brother Frank: if you're listening to this, you are freaking out over the shitty New York Knicks captains. That's the highlight. That might be the funniest.
He's rewinding. He's like, "Who did he say?"
I can't believe the Knicks have that many shitty captains. That has to be the word. Oh my God, so bad.
Like it doesn't give it. There's no more prestige to that, you know.
No,
just
they
like
shouldn't give it out. Like Luke
no,
Garrett
it's
died.
like, all right, it's Jeter, it's Ruth and Mantle and Jeter and
it went
Judge, and that's it.
No. Yankees went from Garrick to Munson. That's the way you handle being a captain. Someone dies tragically, we're getting rid of this. The Knicks give it out. Like, was I in the running for that?
You might have been a captain in the late 80s. Yeah.
Oh,
we'll have to double check that.
That's so funny. Anyway, have a good week. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.